encompasses a period of 100 years, will inevitably touch moments of proud accomplishment as well as times of fear and trepidation. At one point in our recent history, those two extremes occurred simultaneously, affecting all Americans. It happened during the early 40s. The threat of war had become a frightening reality, and the country was mobilized as never before to meet the awesome challenge. For many in the armed forces, the last sight they saw of the USA on their way to the battlefields of Europe was the lady in the harbor, her torch held high. It was also the first thing they saw upon their victorious return. The Statue of Liberty symbolized the essence of our national values. Her likeness was emblazoned on war bonds, posters, billboards, and movie screens to remind us all what we were fighting to preserve. In 1942, a short film was shown in movie houses across the country. It was dropped in amongst the double feature, the coming attractions, the serial, the newsreel, the cartoon, but it still managed to make such an impact. It took on a life of its own. It was called The House I Live In. Today, the message still sounds fresh and vital, and the man who first introduced this song is, if anything, even more dedicated to the American dream than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Sinatra.
Mr. President, Nancy, President Mitterrand, Madame Mitterrand, ladies and gentlemen. It's difficult for me to try to explain to you what I feel in my heart at this very moment, because I stand here in the presence of the lady we honor today and the beauty of her torch, who smiled on my father, Martin Anthony Sinatra. And I'm proud to say his name. And I imagine running down the gangplank when he arrived must have been quite a thrill for him, when he took his first step into Liberty's soil and into freedom's soul. That shrine of hopes and dreams, that body of land surrounded by love called Ellis Island, which means welcome in any language. Marty, God rest him, was one of those 12 million of the world's tired, poor, huddled masses yearning to breathe free, who honor those hallowed halls, who enlarged and enriched the American family by sharing with the new friends their Michelangelos and their Meister singers, their Holy Lands and their marching bands, their rice and roots, tillers and toilers, philosophers and farmers, their common and most uncommon poets and peasants who braved the ocean waves in their pilgrimage of proof that our days are better than anyone else's yesterdays, that our todays are better than anyone else's yesterdays, that America's tomorrows beat everything in sight. Here, in this blessed country without walls, here, in the house I live in.
What is America to me? A name
for a flag I see, a certain word, democracy. What is America to me? The house I live in, a plot of earth, a street, the grocer and the butcher, and the people that I meet, the children in the playground, the faces that I see. And religions, that's America to me. The place I work in, the worker by my side, that little town or city where my people lived and died. The howdy and the handshake, the air of feeling free, and the right to speak my mind out. That's America to me. The things I see about me, the big things and the small, the little corner newsstand and that house a mile tall, the wedding and the churchyard, the laughter and the tears, and the dream that's been a-growing for more than 200 years. The town I live in, the street, the house, the room, the pavement of the city, or a garden all in bloom. The school, the church, the clubhouse, the million lights I see, but especially the people. That's America to me.
We've been away for an unusually long time because there's actually been something of a hitch here in the program tonight, which had to do really with the weather. We told you it was cold and windy. What is happening on stage now, and the crowd is applauding, is a tribute to Operation International Naval Review, which is going to happen tomorrow. But because the weather is so bad outside the harbor that many of the captains were not able to get here from Sandy Hook, where they're berthing overnight. And so that's the delay, and here now is the finale.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Operation Sail 1986, the Honorable Emil Mosbacher, Jr.
The America's Cup races. Buzz Mosbacher, two-time winner of the American Cup races.
President Reagan, Mrs. Reagan, President Mitterrand, Madame Mitterrand, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and privilege for me to honor the captains who have brought their magnificent vessels many thousands of miles from all corners of the globe to join with us in our salute to liberty. To these seafaring gentlemen, we extend our warm thanks and deep appreciation. It is our fervent hope that this convocation of the world's greatest ships will bring us at least a league closer to the international goodwill and peace which we pray is on the horizon. And now it is my great privilege to introduce to you an old friend, a fellow sailor, a great American, the Secretary of the United States Navy, the Honorable John Lehman.
Thank you, Bus. In addition to the tall ships that are gracing our celebration this weekend, we also have naval vessels representing 29 countries from around the globe. There has always been a spirit of camaraderie amongst naval personnel, a mutual respect and love of the sea that transcends borders and government. It is our hope that our foreign visitors will take with them when they leave fond memories of this historic occasion. I know they will take with them the gratitude and affection of the American people for adding their good wishes to those of freedom-loving people everywhere. Sailors have always navigated by the use of bright objects in the sky. And once again, there is a shining torch in our sky to guide them to a safe harbor. It is the torch of the Statue of Liberty. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, to rekindle the torch of the Statue of Liberty, the President of the United States.
While we applaud those immigrants who stand out, whose contributions are easily discerned, we know that America's heroes are also those whose names are remembered by only a few. Many of them passed through this harbor, went by this lady, looked up at her torch, which we light tonight in their honor. They were the men and women who labored all their lives so that their children would be well fed, clothed, and educated. The families that went through great hardship yet kept their honor, their dignity, and their faith in God. They passed on to their children those values that define civilization and are the prerequisites of human progress. They worked in our factories, on ships and railroads, in stores, and on road construction crews. They were teachers, lumberjacks, seamstresses, and journalists. They came from every land. What was it that tied these profoundly different people together? What was it that made them not a gathering of individuals, but a nation? That bond that held them together as it holds us together tonight, that bond that has stood every test and travail, is found deep in our national consciousness, an abiding love of liberty. For love of liberty, our forebears, colonists, few in number and with little to defend themselves, fought a war for independence with what was then the world's most powerful empire. For love of liberty, those who came before us tamed a vast wilderness and braved hardships which at times were beyond the limits of human endurance. For love of liberty, a bloody and heart-wrenching civil war was fought. And for love of liberty, Americans championed and still champion, even in times of peril, the cause of human freedom in far-off lands. The God who gave us life, Thomas Jefferson once proclaimed, gave us liberty at the same time. But like all of God's precious gifts, liberty must never be taken for granted. Tonight, we thank God for the many blessings He has bestowed on our land. We affirm our faithfulness in His rule and to our own ideals, and we pledge to keep all alive the dream that brought our forefathers and mothers to this brave new land. On this theme, the poet Emmett Lazarus, moved by this unique symbol of the love of liberty, wrote a very special dedication 100 years ago. The last few lines are ones we know so well. Set to the music of Irving Berlin, they take on tonight a special meaning. the keepers of the flame of liberty. We hold it high tonight for the world to see, a beacon of hope, a light unto the nations. And so, with joy and celebration, and with a prayer that this lamp shall never be extinguished, I ask that you all join me in this symbolic act of faith, this lighting of Miss Liberty's torch.
People here have instinctively risen to their feet.
These are fireworks, but not the fireworks that you've been hearing about. Those, the Big Bang is what you'll see tomorrow night. These fireworks put on by a French company who've been manufacturing fireworks since the time of Napoleon. French and the Americans together in their celebration.
She had a broken nose, a cracked right eye, a split lip, stains on her gown. Now, more than anything else, she's got a brand new torch. She lights the way again.
And I think that my father came here as an immigrant teenager with his family from England. My mother's parents came here as immigrants from Russia. And I think I speak for many Americans tonight when I say, thank God they did.
tonight certainly tells it like it is. America wears its heart and its patriotism on its sleeve for all the world to see. And that is only Act 1. We have a full weekend ahead of us tomorrow. We begin with Operation Sail, the International Naval Review. President Reagan, who has sat there all night without a coat on, will be joined by French President Mitterrand on board the USS Iowa down the Hudson River to review the International Naval Armada and the tall ships. Barbara?
And then there's going to be a concert tomorrow night, the Boston Pops, Barry Manilow, Whitney Houston, Joe Gray, wonderful concert, and then the biggest fireworks display. You ain't seen nothing yet if you thought this was big. And I hope it didn't sound as if Americans are glad just that my parents and grandparents came here. I was really speaking for all of us who are citizens now and came here as immigrants.
Barbara, I don't think you should be the slightest bit embarrassed. I think tonight we're all immigrants. For Barbara and for all the people at ABC News, thank you for joining us. We hope you'll be with us. Have a happy 4th of July. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
With the sound of the Liberty Marching Band under the direction of Dr. Art Bartner filling the night air, we thank you all for sharing these opening ceremonies with us this evening. Good night, and remember to keep liberty forever in your hearts. This is Mandel Kramer speaking.
ABC presents